is Scott Laird from D'Addario. A lot of students are, and frankly a lot of teachers too, are concerned about changing strings on string instruments because of just not wanting to make a mistake and not doing things quite right. So let me just give you a couple of quick little things that'll, I think, make changing strings easier for everybody involved. And I encourage you to try it. People always wonder, you know, how do I know when my strings are bad and when it's time to change a string? Well, obviously, if a string breaks, you need to change it. A lot of times when a string wears out, you'll feel a roughness to the string up here where your fingers are. And that's a quick way to know that your string needs to be changed. Another thing that can happen with strings is they can become false when they start to wear out. And that's when you can't really quite tell what the pitch is of the string. So if you're noticing any of that with your strings, it's definitely time to change them. And new strings just tend to have a lot more life to them, a sort of a more resonant sound to them. And so maybe if your strings have been on your instrument for a while, it might be a great time to change your strings, or even upgrade your strings, get a little better set of strings, and it can really impact the way your instrument sounds. But this is all about changing that string. So let's talk about what we do. First of all, when I change strings, even if I'm changing my entire set of strings on my instrument, I only change one at a time. You may not realize that the sound post in your instrument is held up by partially by the pressure that the strings create on the bridge and then on the instrument. So I never take all 4 strings off my instrument. The bridge tends to fall out at that point. The sound post easily falls down, and it just causes problems. So we're only going to change one string at a time. Now today, I'm going to change my C string, the lowest string on the viola. So the first thing I do when I'm changing strings is pull the old string off. So I'm going to go ahead and take this C string off, and I carefully pull it out of the peg and out of the tailpiece. I'd encourage you, when you change your strings on a bowed string instrument, to save your old strings just in case of an emergency. Now, I've got my new string, and it's ready to go. I'm using a D'Addario Zyx string on my viola. I love the way these strings sound on my viola. They're nice and bright and give a really, really super sound to my instrument. Now, the one end has a ball on the end, and the other end does not. Okay, the ball end goes into the tailpiece. So the first thing I do is take that ball end and I slide it into the tailpiece, and the ball will hold the string in. You'll also notice that there's a groove in the bridge where the string belongs, and so I like to line that C string right up along that groove. So I'm going to start with the peg a little bit out of the peg box, and as I wind that string, I'm going to push the peg in and get a perfectly wound spiral on that string. So let's go ahead and do that, see if we can make it happen. So I am going to place the string into the hole. Now, a lot of people ask me, how far does the string go into the hole? And the answer is the string goes about the width of the peg into the hole. So I just push it right on through. You don't tie a knot on that string or anything like that. You just push it in, and when you start turning, that will create some friction that will hold the string in place. So I'm going to spin that peg, always turning so that the string is winding above the peg as I'm turning in, and I'm going to create a beautiful spiral on that string so that it never crosses itself. And my C string is on, and it's ready to go. You'll notice that it's in a perfect spiral around that peg, and I'm ready to play. Now, I might have to retune that C string a couple of times when it gets settled in there. It might stretch for a little bit of time. The D'Addario Zyx strings don't take a long time to stretch, but maybe after playing for 5 or 10 minutes, I'll need to just adjust that tuning a little bit, and I should be good to go at that point. I hope that helps. It's the same process for all the strings. Go ahead and try changing a string. Might just be time to change your strings, put a fresh set of strings on that instrument, and I'll bet it'll really sound great. Best wishes, and we'll see you the next time.